Hello, my name is Matthew, and I'm reading Don Quixote by Cervantes, and I'm reading the Edith Grossman translation. It's my first time reading this, and so far I've read up to part one. The book is divided into two separate books. Um, each book has two separate parts, and each book is divided into these little books. So I've read up to part one, and it's fabulous. I absolutely, I love this book. So fun. The characters are so great, and this thing just hits with a running start. I'm so impressed with the beginning of this story. We're just told everything straight away. We're gonna have Don Quixote. He's an older gentleman. He's been reading tales of chivalry his whole life, and it's rotted his brains. And he wakes up one day, decides to don armor, has to make a pasteboard helmet. He has a lance, he has a horse, he has a shield, and he's just gone crazy. He's going to put on armor, and like all the stories that he's read that have rotted his brain, he's going to go off and have adventures as a knight, righting wrongs, sleeping under the open sky, um, and performing and adhering to his version, his code of chivalry. We just get that all straight away. It's going to be it's a satire, and there's irony, and it's outlandish, um, and we just have to accept that. We're just going to have a great deal of fun. He's gone crazy. He's read all these stories. Now he's walking around the regular world, uh, being a knight, and everyone that he encounters recognizes that the person's gone mad. It's practically in a constant state of hallucination. And the first adventure is by himself. He doesn't have his squire. Uh, um, he has to be knighted. He can't be a knight running around on adventures until he's been officially knighted. Doesn't bring any food with him. Doesn't bring any money with him. He's wearing armor on this horse all day, just off running around Spain. And he comes across a little humble inn. There's the innkeeper. There's lodgers, um, people in the stables. There's prostitutes, and Don Quixote sees a fabulous castle, and there's princes and princesses, and he goes over to the prostitutes, and he has this ornate, flowery, literary, old-timey way of speaking, and he's talking to them as if they are these royal princesses, and he's a knight, and he needs lodging, and his horse needs to be taken care of, and he needs to be knighted. Where is the king of the castle? And um, they just see this ridiculous sight. He comes in. The innkeeper is tolerating him, has him sit down, is gonna put his horse up, give him a place to sleep, give him a bite to eat. He said he'll knight him in the morning, and you get these comedic set pieces. He has to hold his helmet, the visor of his helmet that he has made. Uh, in order to eat, he has to use both hands to hold it up. And while he's holding both hands, he doesn't have an extra hand to eat, and so he refuses to take off the helmet, and the prostitutes are helping him eat. he stands vigil all night. He's marching back and forth out in the stable, because he's dreaming about his love. He has his love, and he needs everyone to dedicate and admire her beauty. Someone else comes in just to take care of their horse, or they have a hog or something. And Don Quixote goes, "Get back!" And he whacks the guy on the head, cracks him. The guy's unconscious, laying there, like dead. Another person comes in, cracks that person on the head. The innkeeper comes down and goes, you know what, I'm just going to knight you right now. Gives him advice as best as he can. Says, like, whatever you're doing, like, you don't have any food, you don't have any money. And Don Quixote is saying, well, in these tales of chivalry, knights never carry money. It's never been mentioned that they have money. And the person's saying, well, it's not mentioned because it's such an obvious fact. It's just a ubiquitous part of living in the world, that you're gonna have money to use in a way of exchanging goods and services, and you're gonna have provisions. You're gonna have food and water. So he gives him a little bit of advice. Don Quixote goes off again and comes across a man who has a child tied to a tree, and the man's beating the child. And so Don Quixote has to right this wrong, and he goes over, and the person explains that the child has been stealing his, I can't remember now, stealing his sheep. Every day a sheep goes missing. And Don Quixote says, no, this isn't right. You're going to untie him. You're going to pay him. You're going to give him reparations. And I'm a knight, and you have to live by the code of chivalry. And the guy says, well, I don't have the money that you're requesting on me at hand right now. But how about I take him back to my house, and I'll pay him then? And Don Quixote says, well, okay, you do that. You're gonna follow him, this child. You're gonna follow him, and since I'm a knight and we live by the code of chivalry, he has to do what I say. And if he doesn't, he knows I'll come back and right this wrong. So just completely insane. The boy is trying to plead with him and say, like, you've got to be kidding me. You're sending me back with this guy? Like, he's going to kill me. Don Quixote goes, no. I'm righting wrongs. And it's an aspect of this story that is very important because it's satirical and hugely funny, and like a rollicking, entertaining tale. There's parts of tragedy and darkness and pain. When he leaves, we know that this child is about to suffer tremendously, more so by the intervention of Don Quixote. He goes back to his Don Quixote goes back home, and there's been a little bit of actually he gets beaten. He gets nearly beaten to death by somebody else. And he gets picked up. Someone has like a hog cart. You find Don Quixote. He's like had his head bashed in. Don Quixote suffers too. This whole story, he's going to be put through the ringer. Gets dragged back. He's just exhausted in a kind of fever dream. The whole town's in an uproar because he's gone missing. The horse is gone. The suit of armor that he had is gone. And like the priest and the barber and Don Quixote's niece is there. And we get this great scene of the priest and the barber and the niece going through Don Quixote's library, specific books. They're looking for, they want to clear it out. They want to get all the books that are poisoning his mind out of the house. They just want to burn them. And so we get these little critiques of the priest and the barber going through Spanish literature and talking Spanish literature and French literature and that Arthurian English stories, deciding which books to keep in the house, which ones to get rid of. They also bar the door and are going to play a trick on Don Quixote and say, "What library? What library?" And that's pretty much the end of it. So at this point, Don Quixote thinks that there's enchantment going on. Some enchantress has made his library disappear, and he's learned his lesson. He needs to have a sidekick. He needs to have his own squire. That's when he goes over to Sancho Panza, and great, again, just straight away. So he's gonna have a sidekick, and this is just another regular average guy. He's got a wife, kids, and Don Quixote just says, "Do you want to go off and have adventures and right wrongs?" And Sancho just goes, "Okay," and off they go. And Sancho's an opportunist. He always has Don Quixote's side. He's always there for him, but does think that through these series of adventures, he's going to gain a fortune. He believes he's going to become the governor of a town. And on the second adventure, but the first adventure where we have Don Quixote and Sancho Panza off together, we get the famous scene with the windmills where there's these giants, and he has to go attack. The windmills, and then they come across just like a caravan. There's just these carriages. There's bishops. Don Quixote believes that there's a princess in this carriage, and that the bishops are actually enchanters. And he's explaining to Sancho, we have to go right this wrong. We have to rescue the princess. And just like a wild man, Don Quixote comes running through, terrorizing these people. He's got a lance and a sword, and he's attacking people. It creates just havoc. People are running in all directions. He's getting into fights with people, knocking them on the ground. Sancho at one point is like going through people's pockets, going, "Well, it's the spoils of war. This is what I get." And the end of book one ends with a cliffhanger, and it's Don Quixote and this other person. The other person is about to swing his sword directly on the crown of Don Quixote. So it's at that moment, and it ends with a cliffhanger. We're going to move on to the next part, book two. And the first part does feel, it just feels like a great short story. It has all the workings of just being a fun little ironic, entertaining tale. And when Don Quixote gets back to the house and the characters start building, the setting starts building, the story starts getting more robust and fleshed out, and is gaining momentum. So that's what I'll say about part one of Don Quixote, or book one. I don't know what I'll call it. It's such a fun. It's just the best. It's the best. So Let me know. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment if you would like, and take care. Bye.